Filming. Okay, so in this video we're going to show you how to make spaghetti. A really awesome spaghetti, if I do say so myself. Here's what you're going to need. You're going to need 5 pounds of hamburger meat. You're going to need 2 jars of this Prego. These are 67-ounce jars, or 4 pounds 3 ounces. 67-ounce jars of Prego spaghetti sauce. And we got traditional, but fresh mushroom is also really good, and sometimes we go with that. So either one of those are really good. And then you're going to want 2 pounds of spaghetti noodles. And it doesn't, it doesn't have to be perfect. If you don't have spaghetti noodles, you can also do vermicelli noodles. It really doesn't matter. Or you can do rotini or macaroni noodles. It really doesn't matter. You can't screw up with a really good spaghetti. So get your ingredients and take your hamburger over here to the pot. We're going to take it. Okay. Woohoo! Get it out there. Alright. And what we're going to do, obviously you can brown your hamburger meat any way you want, but in my not so humble opinion, the best way to do it is to turn your burner not on high, nothing crazy like that, but I turn my burner where it's really hot, which for me is a notch above medium, so not high but really hot. Notch above medium for me. And what you're going to do is just stay with it, because if you turn your burner really hot and walk away, then your hamburger is going to stick. Not a huge deal, but not a great thing either. You're just going to stay with it while it cooks and go ahead and start breaking it up even while it's raw. You can wait until it cooks a little and break it up, but I think the best method is to break it up while it's still raw as it cooks, because what that'll give you is nice even bites of meat in your meat sauce, which makes it obviously that much better. So there you go. We're just going to stay with our stove. Just keep breaking up your meat. Just keep pushing through it and separate it just like that until it's all brown and cooked through. And we'll show you what that should look like when we're done. Well, actually, when you get done browning your meat, you want to take a strainer and strain your meat, strain all the grease off of it, and then put it back in your pot. So in the next video, we will have already strained our meat and put it back in the pot, and we'll show you how that should look. Filming. Okay, so we have our hamburger meat cooked, jibbled up, and drained all the fat off of it, all the grease off of it. As you can see, it's a nice, even, jibbled up hamburger because we chopped it up while it was still raw and left it on a pretty high heat and just stayed with it and kept doing it. And it actually got done pretty fast. It's only been like 15 minutes, which might not seem short to you, but when I cook hamburger a lot, so I know that's actually quite short. So it works really swell, as you can see. Now, from this point, by the way, I should have mentioned in the previous video, you don't want to dump your grease down your sink. I mean, you can, but it's bad for your pipes. So what we do is we take a big glass bowl or a big pot, if you don't have a big glass bowl, and just put the strainer, like if I was going to use this pot, I'd just set the strainer right over top of it and then pour the hamburger and let the grease drain into the pot, and set the pot or the bowl, whatever you use, aside, and then just discard of it later, however you want. And that way you don't have to dump the grease down your sink, which is good because it's not good for your pipes. Okay, so after you got your hamburger drained, take some salt and go ahead and salt the top of it. And then later you can just salt it to taste, but this way it won't be nasty on the first bite because it'll be saltless. Then we're going to open up our 2 jars of Prego. Alright. And pour them in. This is 5 pounds of hamburger meat that we have cooked here. Gosh, I hope we got a big enough pot. Ooh, that could be awkward. Okay, let's see. Fixing to find out. Okay, well, usually I would have a much deeper pot, so it'd be much easier, but this is good because now I can show you. If you have a pot that's a little too shallow like this, it's fine. Just be careful. Once you get everything stirred, then it'll actually lower quite a bit, so just be really careful when you're stirring it all in. And you don't have to watch the whole process, but what you want to do is just keep stirring. If you have a shallow pot like this, stir slowly. If you have a taller pot, it's better because you can stir much quicker. And you want to stir all your hamburger meat around until there's no more. See, like, when you turn it, you can see there's lots of hamburger that doesn't have sauce on it yet. You want to keep stirring it until you don't see that anymore. Then you're going to turn your burner back on. I'm going to turn mine on medium and just let it heat up from there until it's hot enough to eat. And while it heats, it'll bring all that nice flavors, all those nice flavors together. Let the hamburger and the sauce blend really well while it heats. While it's heating, you can boil your noodles, and we'll show you in the next video how to do that. Filming. Okay, so we're gonna boil our noodles. When you're boiling noodles, it's quite simple. Follow the instructions on the box. It's really just that easy. But while you're doing that, here's a couple tips that you can use that'll make your life that much easier. When you put your water on to boil, cover it with a lid. It will boil much faster. A watch pot never boils, so go do something and come back and it'll be boiling. Just like that. Joke. Anyway, just a joke. Okay. Then, we have our noodles ready. I'm going to put them in the water. 2 pounds. Oh right, it's 2 pounds of noodles in case you missed that from before. It's 2 pounds of noodles. So I got some sauce on the pot there. It'll be okay, it's all going in the same place in a second. Alright, put your noodles in there, and when you put your noodles in the pot, instead of just, I know like the water will stop boiling for a second and then you're going to wait for it to come back to a boil before you start your timer for your noodles, but instead of just waiting, if you'll stir them right away, then you can really avoid getting those, sometimes noodles really stick together and make a big wad clump of noodles that don't get done all the way through, and the outside is too done and the inside is crunchy. It's just really weird. But if you stir it starting from the beginning, and just keep doing that if you can, just stay by the stove and keep stirring your noodles, that'll keep them from sticking together in clumps. Just keep separating them, stirring just like that. Also, go ahead and salt your water. Don't be afraid of it, because noodles really suck without salt. And do it kind of liberally, because you're in that huge pot of water. You cannot salt it too much. Go ahead and salt it. Also, if you're doing spaghetti noodles, sometimes you have, I don't know if you don't like this or if you do like it. Me personally, I don't. I don't like when you have a spaghetti noodle, you have to twirl it a million times on your fork to get it to stay, and then when you pick it up, it flicks you in the face. So what we do to avoid that is we take the noodles. I saved some so I can show you. And you just grab a big wad, get them kind of even, and break them just like that. It makes a little bit of a mess, so be careful. Other than that, now your noodles are half the length they were in the box, and that makes them just so much easier to eat on your plate, and you can't tell. I mean, they don't look like short spaghetti noodles, they just look normal. So there you have it. Follow your instructions. Our instructions say cook them for 6 to 7 minutes. So we're going to go with 7 minutes, and I'll show you how to be sure that they're done in the next video. Filming. Okay, so we boiled our noodles for 7 minutes, and I really think that they're done. But obviously, the way you can tell, there are 2 ways. The first way is the most tasty. You can just put it in your mouth and see if that's the texture that you want. And if you like it, then it's done. And if you don't, then put it back in the, let it keep boiling and like for 2 minutes, and then check it again, and then 2 minutes and check it again, etc. But in my case, these noodles are actually done. I can tell because I've already tasted one, and it's the way that I like them. You can also tell by doing this. There you have it. I know it seems weird, but actually if the noodle sticks, it is in fact done. So there you have it, your 2 ways to check if your noodles are done. Obviously you want to strain these and get them in a strainer, and then as soon as your spaghetti sauce is hot, you can make your plate. Filming. Okay, with our spaghetti, we're going to have some peas, because peas and spaghetti really complement each other. And we just use great value sweet peas. Just those there, you see. And we just put them in a pot, like so, with the water in the can, and I'll just dump the whole can in the pot and salt it liberally. Because peas are some tasteless so-and-sos without salt. So, just do that. I got my burner turned on high, and the second they start to boil, you want to immediately turn your burner down to low or a notch above. And what you're going for is to keep the peas simmering. And you want to let them simmer as long as possible. Let them simmer till the last second, because the longer they simmer, the better they are, so long as they are under water. If the water, steams out, then add some more water, because then you got peas on top that get dry and crunchy. It's kind of nasty, actually. So, make sure they're covered in water, and then just simmer them to the last second. The trick to really, really good peas, it's not that hard. What you do is, when the peas are done, you put them on a plate, and don't use margarine, for goodness sake, use butter. And put a pat of butter on top of your peas, And A, that makes it a really pretty way to serve it. It looks really nice. And B, makes the peas really, really good, exceptionally good. Salt them, add a pat of butter when you get done, and there you have really excellent peas. Filming. Okay, so everything's done. We're gonna go ahead and dip up our plate here. There's one more trick about spaghetti. If you don't like, ooh, goodness. You don't like to twirl it on your fork, which me personally, it gets on my last nerve. I don't like to do it, it's messy, da-da-da-da-da-da. So, take a fork and a knife, a butter knife will do the trick, that's all it really needs. And what you want to do is take your noodles and put your knife right against your fork like that. Okay, let me push it over here so you can see it. Take your fork on one side, put your knife on the other, just slide them right across each other. The fork on the one side and the knife on the other holds the noodles from both sides from sliding all over your plate. It's nigh impossible to do with just one tool, trust me. And cut it across just like that. Turn your plate, push your noodles together, and do it across the other way. Really simple. What you end up having is really nice little pieces of noodles that you can just scoop up, and you can see, kind of shake your fork, get all the loose pieces off, and now you don't have stuff dangling and slapping your face in the middle of your dinner and all that crap. Okay, so roll it over to this side here. Excuse me. Over here, the sauce is nice and hot. There we go. The peas are done. We let it boil, and then we turn it down to a simmer, like a notch above low, and just let it simmer to the last second. There we go. Not a very pretty plate, but I can't be faulted for that. I'm hungry. Just take your butter, take a pat of butter, like I said, and put it on top of your peas there, and there you go. Spaghetti and peas, the most excellent meal.